Yo, welcome to the Cosmic Paradox channel. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace, peace. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Know Thyself Queen, or as you may know me as Queen Ra or Rakia. I just want to speak to you guys just a minute just to kind of talk about energy, right? So, I'm sure we all know, but everything is made of energy, right? Even we are made of energy. Now, energy is defined as information that vibrates. Now, thousands of years ago, our ancestors saw energy in ways that we dismiss in these modern times. But scientific research has proven that everything that is energetic contains information, and it is this data that differentiates a hair cell between a brain cell, right? Now, the law of vibration states that everything in the universe is in constant state of motion, which we refer to as vibration. And the speed or rate at which something vibrates is called its frequency. So that's what we're referring to when we're talking about vibes, people's frequency. Now our thoughts, like everything else in the universe, are energy, and they vibrate at different frequencies, and that's dependent on the nature of the thought. Now, our thoughts are cosmic waves that are so powerful that they penetrate all space and time. Now, and our thoughts and our feelings control the vibration of our body. So we have the power to dictate our frequency of our being by choosing and directing our thoughts. Now, it is these vibrations that dictate our life experiences, because we attract whatever resonates with that frequency. So this is what people mean when they say that you create your own reality. So when you feel grateful and maintain that feeling, you raise your frequency and vibration to one of gratitude, making it so you are able to attract and receive even more things to be thankful for, creating a life of gratitude. Now, this is why it's important to choose the vibration that you want to live in. You do that by controlling your mind and choosing your own thoughts. Well, at least you're choosing the thoughts that you choose to give your energy to, right? Now, most people don't choose their thoughts. They allow their circumstances and situations to dictate what they think, and they remain drawn to those very same experiences and circumstances because that's the frequency that they're on. That's what's resonating. So here's the magic. So one thing you have to start doing is you have to identify the energy and the feeling that you want to be in, and just get full of that feeling. Focus on that feeling. Just feel that feeling within yourself. Now, it's not going to be easy to do, but just start off at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. But just know that you're already in a better place because you're aware that you need to change your thought pattern. Now, let's get a little more specific, right? I want to kind of get into the energy around the heart. And it's important that we understand how important the heart is. Did you know that the heart is an electromagnetic organ? That means, the heart being the physical center of the circulatory system, managing over 75 trillion cells. It is also the electromagnetic center of the body, emanating thousands of times more electricity and magnetism than the human brain. Even more impressively, it also is an organ of communication. It potentially manages the bodies into the processes, right? Now, the electromagnetic field of the heart, or the EMF, is 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. Its electrical field is 60 times greater than that of the brain. Not only is its electromagnetic capacity greater than that of the brain, but it is organically capable of performing certain brain-like functions. In fact, between 60 and 65% of the heart cells are neural, meaning they're identical to those that are present in the brain. Energy, which is again information that vibrates, flows constantly between the heart and the brain, assisting with emotional processing, sensory experience, memory, and different derivative meanings from events and reasoning. The heart has long been known as the center of the body, as well as the home of the soul. Now, under the correct conditions, such as when a person consciously centers their focus in the heart can begin to run the brain. And if one can manage their body through the heart rather than the brain, then they have a slightly higher functioning mental and emotional state, as well as a healthier body. Now, most people believe that the brain initiates the first response to incoming events and then orders the reactions. But analysis reveals, however, that incoming information is first impacts the heart, and through the heart, the brain, and then the rest of the body. So, depending on your heart, is how you're going to relate to the world. Now, of course, we know physically the heart pumps the blood and it provides circulation in the body, right? But there's also something else we need to get into a little bit more metaphysical about the heart. Now, the heart has four chambers that coordinates the heart's functions, maintaining the blood flow in a steady rate, optimizing blood oxygen level, those type of things. And each chamber carries out a specifically aided by the valves in the heart. So, and all of that controls the flow of the blood to the heart. Now, metaphysically, the heart or the heart sensor is your fourth chakra center, or it is also the point of transformation or the transformation center. And it is transformation from the inner world or from the personal individual reality to the universal reality. Now, indigenous people of the world describe the four chambers metaphysically as open, strong, clear, and full. Now, a strong heart means having courage. Now, true courage is based on our own internal authority of who we are. Now, a strong heart shows the courage to speak the truth, standing up for what you believe in, and taking action when it's needed. So, having the strength to live with integrity, that is the requirement. So, that is what establishes a strong heart. Now, having a clear heart means that we removed our personal biases and we develop clarity about ourselves so that we can see clearly and see without the external temptations that can lead to destruction. So a clear heart means we are able to allow the heart to help us see and understand, because we can see without bias. We can see without that judgment. With a clear heart, you have a clear heart able to cultivate a clear mind. And with a clear heart, we can analyze everything that we're saying and everything that it is, and we can do that without blame or judgment. Now, when we're looking at an open heart is simply as it's stated, it's an open heart. Of people who wear their heart on their sleeves, these people don't have anything to hide. We can freely share our feelings, our ideas, our intentions, and be open to others without judgment. With an open heart, we embrace life with a sense of acceptance. One cannot accept things fully without having an open heart. And lastly, when we're talking about a full heart is full of enthusiasm, it's full of joy, it's full of life. It shows enthusiasm with everything that it does, or that individual shows enthusiasm with everything that they do. A full heart is a heart that is capable of loving itself. It has been nurtured by the self, nurtured by the family, by nature, by life. So these four things, when a person establishes their heart this way, then that's a strong, centered individual. And when all four chambers are fully functioning, that's what type of person that you get. You get a full, strong, open, and clear heart. Now, there's always a constant battle that's going on in your heart. And oftentimes people will say that a person can either operate from love or from fear. And all of that has to do with the heart. Now, it's dealing with fears that often is what weighs our heart heavy. If you heard that you are to keep your heart light as a feather, to balance your heart. Fear is what attacks the heart, and it's what prevents us from being present. It's fear that challenges us by triggering a reaction that leads to a sense of feeling under supported, or like you lack support, like you're not safe, like you don't have the ability to be stable. You don't feel safe within yourself or within a situation. And that's our foundation of our being. That's your root chakra. And from there, it moves on. See, what happens is that fear, it tricks us in the situation. So if you have a weak heart then that lacks courage, then it leads to doubt and shame and victimization. If you have an unclear heart, that leads to envy and judgment and a sense of entitlement. If you have an empty heart, then that leads to a feeling of resentment. If you have a closed heart, that leads to a loss of life force because you are cutting yourself off, you know. And it is these things that kind of, it attacks our heart and it depletes us of that life force energy that we have. And see, it's brought on by these four shadows or these four horsemen. These four horsemen, so to speak, are our behavioral responses that evolve from the fear-based ego. So these four horsemen or these four shadows are inferiority, envy, resentment, and apathy. Now, inferiority is often in the form of some imagined victimization. Envy is often expressed as a sense of entitlement. Resentment we see through some unmet need of being saved or being rescued. And with apathy, we're talking about, some sort of blaming. So you're blaming other people for what's going wrong within yourself or within your life. Now, that inferiority can appear in the form of humiliation. It can be shame or victimization. So this is a result of our courage being overtaken by one or more of these fears. It prevents us from having the courage to be who we are when in this world. So unless we're able to stay focused and address that root cause of the feeling of inferiority or that undeservingness or being victimized, then we can't reestablish our core sense of self and we can't reclaim our own internal resonance. And that's what provides us with the courage to move forward. So a lot of shadow work will be needed in the sense of shame and victimization, in a sense of dealing with that. When we're talking about envy, now envy is a sense of lowering oneself when one or more of the fear stimulants has brought you into a comparison to someone else, to create a need to define yourself from the outside in instead of from the inside out. Now, this is something that a lot of people do, especially with social media. It is so easy to compare yourself to somebody else's highlight reel. But this prevents us from respecting ourselves. And if we can't respect ourselves, then we can't respect others. And it often occurs that when we have never, if we don't experience that sense of wholeness, that in being who we are, as a result, we're forever comparing and judging the world according to what other people have. Now, when we talk about resentment, resentment occurs when we allow our shadows or our egos to convince us that someone should rescue or save us. Now, a lot of times this just happens when trouble happens, and fear creates this illusion that we need to be rescued, that we need to be saved. Now, when you're coming from a strong sense of self, that's when we fully choose to live in each moment from the core of ourselves. And from that internal authority, resentment can't grow because we don't need to be rescued. Now, of course, this doesn't apply if we're talking about an actual dangerous situation where, the police or someone would need to be called. But this is just in general how a person approaches their problem solving within their life. Now, lastly, when we talk about apathy, that's pretty much not caring, having an indifference, or it's more so like a misdirected blame. So when we feel the need to control the outcome, right, and it doesn't happen, it's real easy to put that blame somewhere else rather than to look at the situation and appreciate the complexity and the mystery of life and understand that what's happening has to happen for maybe some reason that we can't foresee at the time. When we're dealing with apathy, we can pity ourselves. And in doing so, we can hate the people whom we believe to have harmed us or hurt us or disappointed us. With apathy, you hold on to grudges, maybe even seek out revenge through words, emotions, or even silence. And you can find pleasure in the suffering of those people who we find to blame. But when this happens, it prevents us from being able to be generous with ourselves. And if we can't be generous with ourselves, then we cannot be generous with others. And generosity to self and to others is a deep virtue. And oftentimes this, generosity is a valued as a valued virtue in spiritual traditions, in many different spiritual traditions. So without a sense of self, it's difficult to be generous to oneself. So this heart chakra, understand the capacity of your heart. The heart is an endocrine gland because, of course, all of your chakras correlate with the endocrine glands because the endocrine glands release hormones to help to regulate the body. So as you are affected spiritually and emotionally and mentally, these things have an effect on your physical body. So it's important that we understand the power of our heart center and what we are capable of when we are standing in a full, strong, clear, and open heart. Because it is then that we are truly centered in who it is that we are. And it is then when we are truly capable of being able to provide that healing frequency when we interact with others. Because of that, in that electromagnetic field that we have, our hearts initially interact with other people's energy first. And when we are coming from that full and completed heart, when we have a complete heart center, that we are able to heal others simply by interacting with them, simply by sharing that energy with them. This is a very powerful energy center. Now, if you are an empath or a heart healer or an energy healer, it's very, very vital that you always, always, always work on your heart center and be sure to keep your heart, because you're constantly exchanging energetically with other people. So there's so many things that can affect us at this time, especially as an absorber, as an empath. So be sure to practice your boundaries and have healthy heart chakra health, and be sure to be true to your complete self. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this video up, but I hope you guys pretty much got what I was trying to relate pertaining to energy, vibration, frequency, your heart. It all goes back to you. You can control your thoughts, you control your frequency. Work on healing that heart chakra. I'm out. Peace. Cosmic Paradox.